The effects of trauma from war are so many, and they carry on throughout life. Sometimes the culture that we are brought up in my own case, the African culture, where, as I said before, children are seen but not often heard, tends to put away these feelings, and children feel that they cannot approach anyone. But what we now know is that when children don't deal with the trauma or don't have a way of expressing how they feel, these things can carry on into their adult life. There is evidence that trauma in childhood can continue up till your late 80s, in fact, and can cause serious depression in later life. So, putting it away does not solve the problem. But it actually can lead to difficulty in adult life, difficulty in our own functioning as adults in work, how we take to other people's feelings. If we are brutalized with trauma of war, we can also end up brutalizing other people without knowing it, because we may feel, well, I had the same treatment, nobody cared, why should I care? But we now know that if we can change the attitude and focus more on the early years, we can change the outcome. For children that have been displaced because of war and trauma, the problem at times is not just about the effects of displacement and trauma, it's also how they fit in the host country or communities. What I would say is that working with the local community as well helps. That is, letting them accept the displaced. Sometimes there are all sorts of beliefs about the displaced. People may think that they bring diseases, or they bring crime, or they are not deserving, and this can damage relationship very early on. So it's not just about the trauma of the displaced, it's also about engaging with local communities to accept these displaced and traumatized children. What we also know from mental health is that when there is early intervention, say in schools, for all children to accept one another, they can, in a way, improve relationship far better than adults would ever expect. So it's about early teaching and acceptability for the displaced child. It's about giving them, making friendships and giving them hope that the host community and the children that are displaced are the same. Children are very good at tolerating one another. In my own home and country worked for me in a positive way. I was able to use more of my time to prove other people wrong, that even though I was born of a displaced parent or parents, I could achieve. So it worked for me. But for other children, it may work the opposite way. They may be preoccupied with the insecurities of their lives, and they may not be able to work constructively in school. I also recall that some of these children were singled out and received more punishment in those days. And probably for NGOs working with these children, if you can take it upon yourselves as a challenge to be the advocate for these children, that they've had difficulties that takes away some of their ambition and drive, you can help them to not always have the double problem of being displaced and traumatized and not doing well in school. To you, staff working with these children, is that you are protecting the future of these children. And we want to support you in whatever way we can. What you're doing already is protecting the future. And my contribution to this is simply that there are things that young people would like to know. I've touched on a role model that if they see more people that have come through similar experiences, that would help them a lot. If they see that you as the NGOs have a commitment, that you believe in them, and that they can tell you the story time after time, by so doing, they can reprocess all this pain and share them with you, and that you take it seriously. If you do them that story, that little life story, or a journey through their pain, that will help them a lot. So we can safeguard these children's current difficulties and move them forward into the future and protect them and give them hope.